We will resume with amendments to the agenda.
No, sir, no amendments.
Anyone here? Okay. No amendments. Approval of the minutes of October 30th. Anyone?
I make a motion to approve minutes.
Second?
Second.
Additions, deletions, corrections? Oh, yes, I have one, if nobody else has one. I don't know if I said the teams were in the finals or if I meant the playoffs, but I meant the playoffs.
You said finals.
Okay, well, I didn't mean that.
Okay, where is it?
So it's a play.
Page 3,
Chair,
board
you
round
got it.
2. I stand corrected. I stand to be corrected.
Okay.
Okay with everybody with that change?
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. 5 minutes for public comment. Goes in. I'll be darned.
So, Joe, on the poles, on the telephone poles, do we need to have the specific numbers, or can we just say every pole that has a light on it on 4th Street?
Every number. I tried to give them just every street. I told them I want them on these streets, and they said no, they need to pull numbers. So
They are weird. Do they have a map of the pole numbers? I mean, of the,
it will require somebody to go around and look at each pole.
Each pole has a sticker. Number on it.
okay. Well, I needed to verify that. And were you able to find out about the dump?
We don't. Oh yeah, no, go for it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I had asked Joe, because they had asked me to ask you guys, we're working on doing some bottle and can drives. And somebody had suggested maybe we could have something down at the dump where people could, donate their bottles and cans. And so Joe was gonna check it out, and
There's a box down there. Nobody laying claim to that at this point?
Those the Boy
Well,
Scouts?
there used to be one on the outside
The
there.
Boy Scouts haven't been collecting, and
Oh.
they had one up here that's gone now.
Well, there was one they were collecting, the Cub Scouts, but I think it's kind of disbanded. They're trying to get it back together, but it's not there, so you're good. Yeah. Okay, as long as they're not.
who do we talk to?
I'm your guy. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, no, because they're saying that there's already something down there. There's not?
Used to be, but I don't know if it's
It's
still there.
if you want to put
Is
a
it?
box down there. Roseanne.
Okay, but if there's already one down there, that'd be one less thing we have to do.
Yeah, I think it's still there.
It's not a lined box, it's just a wooden crate, if you will. So if you want to put something that's easier to grab and haul away, you might want to add something to it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Anything else?
Oh, and that's for project graduation, just to verify.
That's the party they have at night?
Yes. But it is, but it's not
Well,
just
one of the things,
for, yeah, it's not just for that, it's basically the senior class.
Cool.
Anybody else? Lorraine?
Is this where you want me?
I had one more question for Roseanne.
Okay.
This is public comment, I'm sorry. Do they go to DC still? Do the kids from Fairhaven visit DC for a day or two? Or whatever they used to do?
Not in a long time. After COVID just killed everything.
Yeah.
They're trying to put together some kind of a trip, but it's all gonna depend on what kind of funds we come up with. And quite frankly, I wouldn't want my daughter going down to DC right now.
Why?
Yeah.
All these cities they're nuts. The crime is horrendous.
I think that's, the crime is horrendous in Burlington compared to everything, so that's, I don't.
Rutland.
Yeah, we're Rutland, yeah. Or Fairhaven, for Christ's sake. So to miss out on the capital of the United States is not a good thing. It makes people indifferent to their government.
I've already had gotten my daughter down there.
All right.
If they think about doing that again, please keep me in mind. I would like to help with that project. I think it's important to go to. That's why
I do too.
Well, I don't, they are planning a trip. I will, ask, yeah, they hit New York City. There were a bunch of suggestions, but at this point, there's nothing solid. I'll tell them that you're interested in helping with that.
Thank you.
Lorraine?
Well, this is Joe. It brought to my attention that you are going to be at Santa's event in the park. So, I need you all to try one of these on, and I can adjust them if I have to.
This is fantastic.
Wait, I got one. Don't panic. So just try it on and tell me if it fits you. These are not real, but I have a couple real ones that are big.
Perfect.
Yeah. Oh, I'll probably need a 40-gallon bucket.
I think it's perfect.
Oh, you guys look awesome.
Well, I think yours needs to be a little bit smaller. You look good.
Perfect.
Perfect. How do you feel? Would you like it a little bit
Slightly
bigger?
smarter.
Hmm?
Slightly smarter.
Okay.
A little bigger would be good.
Okay, I have a real one. These aren't real top hats. Oh,
Really?
no, aren't they good? Hey, Spirit Store,
Nice.
half price.
Merry Christmas.
So I'm sure Glenn's will fit. I also have red scarves for you. So when that night comes, if you could pick them up here, because that's where Santa gets dressed.
For Santa visit.
Well, that's just,
Okay?
yeah. When is that? Friday?
The 25th.
Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Saturday. Oh. Well.
Thank you for doing this. I think it'll make a big difference.
Well, can I channel my inner Leon Russell?
Can you what?
Can I channel my inner Leon Russell?
I think that his was white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his eyes were red.
And Santa, if you'd stop at my house sometimes,
I will send him your way.
Okay.
we have new beards.
Quick question on that. Is that when they're gonna light the tree and the gazebo and stuff?
Yes.
Thank you, that was a
Thank you.
needed
That was easy.
needed comic relief. Department head report seems to be you. Unless the listers have something to offer. I guess
No,
it's,
we're up about budget. Excuse me, we're up about budget.
Yep.
Okay, first I'll fill in for the police, just hit the highlights for this period. 2 arrests, we got 89 arrests so far for 2023. Traffic violations, 90 traffic violations over the last 2 weeks, sounds high. 18 warnings, 2 parking tickets, and 2 crashes. Let's see, we got a total revenue so far this year of $13,400. We should do. No, that's total revenue from the police department. From the manager's office. It has been and will continue to be for the next couple of weeks, the time for training. I'm trying to learn more about the accountant job. As we bring in a new accountant, I wanted to kind of bring myself up to speed on what that whole job entails, not just necessarily payroll and accounts payable. I feel that I should also be able to do the job, or at least be able to fill in if time comes. So to that end, I signed up for a Vermont GFO class, which I took today, and I signed up to be a part of the Vermont GFOA. So more to come on that, I guess for me. I also signed up the new accountant and Eileen for a payroll training coming up in December. And we're doing a delinquent tax collector training tomorrow. I do that every couple of years just to stay fresh on rules and regs, and because we can get ourselves in trouble very quickly for tax sales. Tomorrow we meet with the court to talk about the trailer park again. And Friday, Royal Glass is coming in. They're going to update our quote for the security cameras. They're going to give me a quote for town hall again, as well as the park and behind the grade school. So we'll have numbers for the board when it comes time to talk about that.
When you say you're talking with the court about this, is there a hearing on this, or what is the status of that?
What do they call that? It's like an update hearing.
Status conference, maybe?
Status conference. From my understanding, the question from the administrator is going to, the question is, pending the court, are they, because the trailer park is now insolvent, do they have the authority, they're asking the court for authority to close the park and sell it. And that's where it's at. Yeah. So if you've been downtown lately, which I think everybody has, you see the construction has started on the lights in the park. Pole bases will be in about mid-November, and they'll start installing those mid-November, late November. So you'll start to see poles go up as well. Right now they're doing the directional boring to get the conduit in. I handed off a couple of those properties that didn't get sold through reaching out to the abutters. Those have been handed off to a real estate agent, and she's working on those. She does need to get some information from our land records. Right-of-way research, I'm still working on that for the downtown project. The water line project is moving forward. There's one more right-of-way that needs to be done on that for the water main coming from Prospect up Main Street. We're looking at putting that out to bid in December, construction sometime in the spring. So we'll see what that looks like when the bids come in.
What about right-of-ways for the solar project?
Yeah, I was going to ask the same question.
Yeah, I haven't heard from them since that initial conversation. So we sent something back to them, and then we were expecting a response, which hasn't come. They were here a couple weeks ago asking for information about the road and utilities under that road, which we provided them that information. But other than that, we haven't seen much movement.
Fire them up, see what's going on.
I'm assuming they can't go forward with their project without the right of way, so, I mean,
What is this? What road is that?
Munger Road.
The water line probably comes into play someplace there.
That's what they're looking for. I think that's all I had for
Any DPW or?
I didn't have anything specific on DPW. Patching holes, they finished winterizing everything again. They did do that. They did patch Scotch Hill Road a couple of weeks ago, maybe a week and a half ago. And that's just a temporary repair for anybody that's up and back over there. That's just a temporary repair to kind of keep some of that water off the road. Once that grant comes through, knock on wood, we're hoping to repave the whole stretch.
She got the table in the park also, I noticed this week.
I'm sorry?
The table in the park is completed.
No, we put the
It's
table
in there. I think they put it in yesterday, maybe?
It was.
Questions for town manager?
I was going to ask one thing, Joe. I know we've talked about this in the past. Any progress with finding additional funds for the downtown project? Or I would assume you're probably working on other things right now.
Yeah, I am, but that's always kind of in the forefront. We're working with Rutland. Is it Cedar or Rutland Regional?
Probably Cedar.
Devonary is,
Oh,
Devonary's working for
Rutland
us.
Regional.
We're working with Rutland Regional to help us apply for additional funding. They're working on one of the state grants right now. I provide them with all the back information we had. And then as the larger programs open up, we'll start applying for those as well. There's the one federal program, which I haven't had any luck with. I'm gonna be honest, it's hard, it's very competitive, and they wanna fund big projects. But what I thought is if I lumped all my projects together downtown, and then as one of our priorities is to get our sidewalks done, lump all the projects downtown and all the main roads that go in and out of town, the hub and spoke that we have here, if I can lump all of the sidewalks into those projects, that should get us up to a good $5 million. If they want to give us some money, I'll take it. So that's kind of the goal. That's the broad vision. It's free to ask.
Yeah, it's free to ask. And if you want, call Megan.
There you go.
When you got something scoped out,
Yeah, I'll let you know. I've landed my, it's hard enough to get the applications onto the secretary's desk, and I've done that twice. It's just our projects are so small, they're not willing to pay for it.
well, that's just ridiculous, but that's the way it is, I'm sure. More bang for your buck, I suppose. Okay. Any old business? I don't see any. I don't see any new business.
I'm just thinking, going back, that federal grant, is that zero match?
It is, it can be.
So- I'm just thinking bigger. If we're too small for them, I mean, what if we partnered with neighboring rural communities and had a huge project as a collective?
That, I think they would like that better, because then it's a regional project, not a town project.
Yeah,
I agree.
something to consider at least.
Are you, I was going to just say, just based upon the information you have now, are you confident that we will be able to find the money somewhere? The reason I ask that is not, is not to cast a pall over the project, but I'm just curious as to, do we know, I mean, I know you've given us approximations, but do we have an exact figure, assuming that we could not go forward with it, what we would have already put out?
I don't understand.
In other words, the cost that we've already invested in the project that we would not be able to recover, and any obligations that we would owe as a result of accepting the grant, the original grant.
The question is what we would owe back.
Yes.
Had we, honestly, Jason, I'd have to dig it up.
Okay.
I can get that number though.
If you could, I just like to see, again, because I don't, I appreciate all the hard work you're doing, but you're dealing with governments now, and which are never reliable, and I worry that if we get down the road quite a bit and we can't do anything about it, then we need to know what we're going to be faced with.
Yeah, let me dig that. I'll give you an exact
Yeah.
number instead of just
Okay.
in a bottle.
All right.
All good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's budget time. We're slightly early. Is Danny coming?
As far as I know, yes.
All right. I hate to start without her because we're not anywhere near our schedule. It's we're supposed to be 7:30. We can double back, I guess. Is there anything we can do that
You want me to
is?
text her and see if if I get her to just come down here?
Yeah, tell her that we're ahead of
Let
schedule.
me go see if she's in the office.
Oh, okay, thanks. If not, then we can, not a lot we can do. Spend a couple minutes in the parking lot, which I hate to do, because that's a dream. talking to somebody.
Yeah.
That may be her.
Joe, on this front page, legal services, as you go across the $10,000, it's lighter. Is that supposed to be like in red or something?
It's, yeah, it's in red if you have a color copy.
What does that indicate?
I had made a cut to it. I had more money in it than originally, and I cut my own money out of it.
Okay.
So anyway, they're ahead of schedule. Hello,
Hello.
working on cleaning up my office.
Well, we somehow got ahead of ourselves. It doesn't,
I'm just as happy to be ahead of yourself.
it just doesn't usually happen.
Yeah.
All right, so we're at page 1, the elections. Do you want to give an overview or?
Elections this year, basically it's just time, and the machine that has to be set up, through the state, that's only one election. We have a busy election year, but the state pays for the, primary in, August and the general election. We just have to do the, town meeting, which is also the presidential primary. So there'll be lots of ballots going through that machine.
The primaries at the town meeting? Huh, I did not know that.
Yep. So it'll all go feed into the same machine. It will read, it will go into the same compartments. However, they have to be separated out into town meeting and presidential primary. So it'll be a fun evening of just sorting ballots. Because they can't be commingled at all.
I assume they're on separate sheets.
They're on separate sheets, and now, last I knew, they were discussing separate colors for the presidential primary. So that, just the top, the new machine doesn't read colors except the border. So if they do a band at the top, blue or and red, at least when we're picking through, it'll be easier. And they'll, obviously, I'm sure they'll be shorter. A lot of people don't vote in the presidential primary because you have to pick your ballot. And people don't like to do that. So it's usually not crazy busy with the presidentials, just like the October or August primary, but where you have to pick a party.
So that would be the obvious reason for the increase in election workers.
Yeah, because there's, and I have to, and as I keep repeating myself, in the day, there were 4 of us, now there has to be 5 people. There has to be somebody with the ballot box, the tabulator at all times.
Yeah.
That way no one can say anything. Or we used to just kind of, someone would be there but not like right there.
So I guess my question is, why is that such a problem?
What?
You
Nationwide.
have to be right side of it all the
You have to,
while.
someone has to stand there, to make sure the ballots are fed in correctly, to make sure that people don't try and, like, rush through and stick another ballot in before the first one is done doing its thing, and you don't have the green light, so it's mostly a job of standing there saying, wait. Yes, you have the green light, you can go, or wait, it's jammed, or wait, you overvoted, or undervoted, or... It's a good time just standing there, isn't it, Sharon?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
I'm sure it's so people can't accuse somebody
Yeah.
of cheating.
Yeah, and you can't touch the ballot. We
Right.
can't touch
We
a
can't
ballot.
touch the
Right.
ballot.
So if it's jammed, unless it's halfway in, and we have to physically have to take it out, but if it spits it back out, we just have to say you pick it up.
Yeah.
We can't touch it.
Any other questions for elections? If not, town treasurer.
So, besides my stipend, we definitely need to have a stipend for an assistant. After being elected, I approached 4 different people to become the assistant treasurer.
Have we had one before?
You've always had
an
one.
assistant.
There's never been a stipend. So 2 were unable to do it because of time constraints. Excuse me. The other 2 were unable to do it because there is no money to pay anybody to come in to learn this job and to take the time to be the treasurer if I'm not around. You definitely have to have 2 other signatures
Who
on.
was the
the-
assistant in the
I've always
past?
been the assistant.
Oh, okay.
And you definitely have to have 2 signatures on the bank accounts. If I walk out tonight and get hit by the fire truck.
I'm sorry, Joe was the assistant for a while under
Yeah. Under
Tracy.
Tracy,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I didn't know.
So that's what I'm looking at going forward. I had 2 people that were very interested actually and not involved in government at this point in time. And so I was trying to figure out how I could take some of my stipend and give it to them and whatever. But
Is there an amount you would recommend?
I'm asking for 1,500.
The other, was the raise in the, your salary.
Correct.
That's, everybody else is getting 3, why are you getting 7?
Honestly, that's just the amount of time that I unfortunately took to put together my budget. I was behind. Had a lot of sickness. So I'm fine with 3. I'm honestly.
That's kind of, is that what we're doing for an average?
Yes.
Okay.
That comes to 6,700, 6,695.
On top of the 6.5, so 60 what?
I'm gonna say 6,700 because I like round numbers.
Okay. Well, that just keeps us in line with everybody else, so
Mhm.
that's okay. Any other questions for the treasurer?
Is the 1,500, do you see it as a stipend or an hourly wage?
I see it as a stipend. I would,
Like that's,
Yeah.
they're gonna come in and work but
I
at
would
the
like
end of the
to
day,
have-
they get their 1,500.
over the course of the year, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where I am with that, and I would like somebody to come in at least once a month to see what is going on with the payroll, so that they're familiar with that process, as well as deposits and other stuff like that, getting familiar with the people down at the bank.
Any other questions? Well, let's keep going then. Town clerk. Are we doing town? Listers is next.
So I think the only, the major concern that I have is the budget is down for the 23-24 tax year. I believe that you guys looked at what was spent the previous year, and it was decided that that could be, the salary line especially could be lessened. And I think what happened there was we had COVID and we weren't able to do, because of the state telling us not to do site visits and to do different things, we weren't able to fulfill all of our obligations. And so I'd like to just ramp that back up. I did add an extra $1,000 because there's a new program coming out from the state, Vermont Pie. We were told it was gonna come out in February this year, and they started it and then put the brakes on it really quick, which totally messed us up. But we recovered, and that was fine. They're still saying that it's gonna come out.
What is it? What is it?
It's a program for connecting our, oh gosh, all of our records. And it's going to be easier to do, let's say, real estate sales and to record those in Vermont Pie. And homesteads, which was just god awful this past year because it originally went into Vermont Pie and then they turned it back into NEMRIC. So it's supposed to be very easy and hand in hand and go very smoothly, and it did not this spring, or last winter actually, and I don't know what to expect. I'd also like to get a third person online in our office, and that's going to take a lot of education to just to be able to do site visits again, or just to be able to go into the computer and do homesteads or do property transfers and different things like that. So I think we need to get that number back to where we had been a couple of years ago. I'm very concerned about the budget that we have this year, if we're going to be able to do everything that we need to do in that.
Is it just you two guys?
It is.
So we're
But
still
it's-
short one.
Yeah, but it's, I mean, just because there's only two of us doesn't mean that the work goes down.
No, I
Yeah,
get that.
yeah,
I
yeah.
understand that. I just, it seems like we should be
And
actively seeking somebody to run. So if you know anybody, I mean.
Yeah, if you know anybody.
But, you know,
Again.
there's also some skill involved, you know, it's a long learning curve.
Well,
It's a good learning curve, so you need somebody who's, you know, who's gonna be able to come in, who's gonna be able to do it, and, you know.
yeah, well, I agree,
Yeah.
but
I mean, it's
We have the
It doesn't have to be just another warm body, you know,
Right.
we really
Yeah.
need somebody who wants the job and wants to put in the time, because there's a lot of steps. And a lot of steps I won't do now, I only will, I've like walked away from, because my fingers will be in too many things. You know, if I'm doing all the recordings, I am then not going to transfer that into the listers department. I let her do that, that way if I goofed a number or something, I might not catch my own error, she will. So she's been doing the brunt of that kind of stuff. So a third person would be great, but we need somebody who's not just, oh, look, I'm gonna just sit here, I'm gonna be a lister and not show up. Yeah.
well, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Any other questions on listers from y'all? Okay. Town clerk.
Where do you wanna start?
Yeah, give me an overview if you want.
Okay, I decided to petition again, for my pay.
Why do you do that?
I do that, why do I do that? Because, I still don't think I'm where I should be compared to other town clerks. I've talked to a lot of people last year actually, were upset that the town was trying to get me down to the 42,400 that I was trying to get myself up to.
I don't understand that at all. What do you mean?
I'm saying that people said to me, I can't believe that the select board thinks you're gonna get paid this little. And I said, wait, I'm trying to actually get it up to that, not down to that. And so, in talking to a lot of people in town, other clerks, I've decided to petition. And
Why
I
do you
say
even,
that,
why do you even bother with us? It's kind of, I don't even know why you even bother,
well, that's
it's
why
kind of
I'm not, that's why I'm
infuriating.
gonna petition.
you know? It's,
Joe, you started it, so go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, is there a budget number I should put in just for a
I am
placeholder?
going to ask for $46,000,
That was,
which is in line with a lot of other town clerks.
thank you.
That's what I will petition for.
I'll be working against that, but.
Oh, I'm sure. Believe me, I'm sure. Come and sit my job for a few weeks.
If it's
I would
okay
love
with the
it.
board, I'm gonna put that as a placeholder.
Yeah, yeah, that's, we gotta know what we're up against.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
And you know, and I'm not saying it will pass. I'm saying I had an awful lot of support last year.
well, you'll get it, you know as well as I do, and everybody votes yes for those things.
Yeah, well, and I'm not trying to ding the town.
Well, you are,
Really,
though,
no,
but you are.
Well, you
Wait,
can
wait,
say so,
wait.
Bob, but-
Wait, come on, Bob, let's not.
No,
make this-
that's
let's not-
exactly what it is.
Well, let's not make this a personal, Kate. She's already explained
I'm
that she's
saying-
going to petition, and that's all we need to say. And
No,
Joe has put his
no, that
placeholder
isn't
number.
enough. I can say I disagree with the whole premise.
You've now said
Because
that 2 or 3 times, so,
I'll probably say it again.
you know, can we move on?
Okay, so
Yep.
we'll move on to the assistant town clerk, which has always been the bane of the existence of the town clerk in this town for however many years that we've had an assistant. I think I'm the only town in, I don't know, in the whole area, probably except West Haven, who doesn't have somebody at least a day a week. Orwell has somebody 25 hours a week, Orwell. Castleton has someone 15 hours a week. It makes sense on many levels. Number one, it is very hard to find somebody who is willing to come in and work at the spur of the moment and have the ability to do anything in that office except answer the phone. I learned most of what I learned with Suzanne by literally walking through the office and her saying, here, do this. This is what we're going to learn as literally as I'm walking through the office. And that's not helpful for the town. It wasn't helpful for me. Eventually I learned it, but you know, Sharon is coming in when she can. I've been trying to have her in as much as I can, but she needs to have the skills so that if I fall down and break a hip, this office doesn't come to a standstill for 6 weeks. Someone needs to be able to do birth certificates, death certificates, marriages. At some point, I'd like to have her learn how to do recordings, which I never did until about a month before I was elected. But every other town has somebody who comes in. And I certainly, and I felt this way when I was the assistant clerk, and I was good friends with Suzanne, and I lived in this town. Years I didn't get a raise, and every time I walked from the lister's office to the town clerk's office, I got a cut and pay of $4. And so in July, I said, you're just getting the same, no matter which side of the door you're on. Both offices work well together. And it's not fair to Sharon to come in and take a $4 cut and pay to be the assistant. There's a lot of skill involved in that. So I've put in a budget for her to get the same amount of pay as the listers for a day a week and for sick time and training and everything else, which is in line with every other place almost in the state.
When you say 1 day a week, Danny, is that 8 hours plus the clerk time off? Is that what you're?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it'd be every day, 1 day a week.
And you said that Castleton has 115
15,
and Orwell has 125.
25, yeah.
Okay.
I think Benson's is around there too, 14, 15 hours a week.
Okay.
And you know, honestly, there is stuff in that office that needs to be filed since, well, several years worth of records that just need to be filed, and it's just time. And we've been working on trying to print out the land records books that we didn't get until recently. So I've had Well, we have 6 volumes of land records that have to be printed. It just takes a lot of time, and I can't be doing that and everything else too. It's a 2-person job. And even if I was here 45 hours a week, there's always something that needs to be done. And elections next year, forget it. It's crazy with elections. I mean, when I was about 4 or 5 weeks behind in recordings at the end of November last year, and I am never more than 2 days behind, 3 at the most. You just don't have time for anything else during election year. And this year's gonna be nuts, and they'll be sending out ballots again in November. So, once they send out those ballots, all hell breaks loose.
Any other questions?
Go on to office supplies.
Is that one of yours too?
Yeah,
Where are we at?
right under assistant. Office supplies are off the chart.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay.
Because I now have to pay for all my paper, for my land records, the books, anything that has to do with recording that used to be covered is no longer covered. And none of that's cheap.
Who covered that before?
It was part of the co-filed Gove contract.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right, you said that
Yeah.
before.
Yeah, so, and I warned you that that was gonna take a huge hit. I also, in there, have included, at least trying to get at least one set of, town reports bound. That's $385 to have a group of them bound, and it can't be more than 3 3/4 inches. But that's statute, that has to be done.
That's in office supplies as well,
I
or
just
is
threw
that?
that in office supplies.
Okay. And the dues and meetings?
The dues and meetings, Joe has thrown in there the fees for the GovOS contracts.
Oh, that's right, okay.
So that's a real jump. And other than that, the machinery and equipment, I'm waiting for, and I don't know, this one may come way down. I've got Ormsby's and GovOS I sent them a joint email. They're trying to figure out, Ormsby's is trying to figure out exactly what I need for, to replace that workstation, because it's almost, well, it's 5 years old, and, you know, it shouldn't wait till the last minute when it's dead to be replaced. So that might go down, and I might be able to update you on that in the next week or so, or 2 weeks. I'm just waiting to hear back
Are
from
you
them.
getting bids between just those two?
At the
Are they
moment,
separate?
They're
or-
separate,
Okay.
yeah,
That's below the bid threshold.
Yeah.
It's just a computer.
yeah.
So what does that entail? I mean,
Well, I'm a bit confused, because what I'm understanding from GovOS is that it's more than a computer, that it's also a server, and there's whatever that entails. Ask me a dead person question, don't ask me a computer question. And I talked to Mike from Ormsby's. He's got it on the computer, he's looked at it, but he still had some questions. He was trying to delve into it a little deeper, so I just don't want to get a computer and then find out, oops, this isn't gonna work, this isn't the right configuration, this, you know, it needs more of whatever it might need. And, you know, what will run it, you know, I don't want to get something that then the program says, oh, well, we can't run that, this computer can't run that program. I just want to make sure everything meshes. And to say, I also just don't want it to die in the middle of something and then be backed up for weeks.
is this all state mandated stuff that we're talking about?
This is part of my recording system. I wouldn't say it was state mandated, but it's part of what we have. And if I don't have a computer, I can't use it. You know, now, in the day, you know, it was just typing it into a book. Now everything goes online, and once I put it in, it's instantly uploaded, so a researcher in Burlington can look at it as soon as I process it. It's a brave new world out there.
Questions, comments?
Well, I was just wondering if there's any better way to do this. This is adding into lots of money over time. And I'm not talking just this year or next year, but over time. We're talking a lot of money.
Well, I'm thinking that, you know, it sounds to me as if, you know, if a new computer is purchased this year, that's gonna last for a few years. It's
That's a
not,
one-time thing.
it's not gonna be a consistent investment in that.
I've been told, and I already talked to Ormsby a couple days ago, you know, he said, I applaud you for being proactive and realizing that 5 years is about the end of the life of this.
Yeah.
The last thing you want, and he says, and it wouldn't be the first time I got a call from Fairhaven saying, oops, something's dead, and now we're in a panic. I mean, it happened in the Lister's office a few years ago. You know, my computer, that they decided it was great, it would last a couple of years, lasted another month or two, and I lost a lot of stuff, a lot of pictures that I backed up onto that. And I just don't want to have that happen here. So, yeah, you spend $1,000, but, you know, it goes for 5 years, 6 years, whatever. But without it, you know, we're dead in the water.
No way out of it then, correct?
Eventually.
Yeah.
I mean,
we
you're
can
good.
push it down the road, but, you know, you push things down the road, they're just more expensive down the road.
Mr. Greeno, this is a lot like buying a pickup truck for the listers. Every now and then you just gotta, or for the collector, you just gotta buy one. They wear out.
So 5-year average on a computer is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, you know, and just so you know, what's also will come down the pipe in the next couple of years is a high-speed scanner, and a fancy printer. But those I think will hold up for a while longer. That'll be okay, but it's the computer I'm worried about now.
Maybe Chad would know this. My understanding is the lifespan of a computer in most corporate settings is about 4 years, 3-4 years.
It's very generous.
Really?
What is your
Maybe
experience?
2 at most.
You really think so?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Well, we know, Nemrick told us a couple of years ago that 5 was just to build it into our budget every 5 years to buy a new computer. And that's what I'm kind of going with.
No, it's good practice. What I would ask them is what kind of backup system you might be able to install with
Well, this is what's
Well,
going onto the cloud.
yeah.
This is all cloud-based now.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good then.
Yeah.
Because if something, even with a new computer, if something catastrophic happened,
Oh, right,
you'd
yeah.
have it all
No,
backed up.
you missed the last meeting I was at when we decided that we would pay for, and I'll pay for it out of my restoration fund, to put it onto the cloud, two locations, one East Coast, one West Coast, just in case something catastrophic happened. There'll be 2, and if something was hacked,
Yeah.
both of them wouldn't be in jeopardy at the same time, with any luck. So we should be all set that way, but it's just the hardware itself I'm worrying about. And I didn't worry about it because they always covered all of that.
Anything else? Nothing else for your guys, right?
Gosh, yeah, I would say, aren't we enough? Haven't we done enough?
Yes. But just, I don't wanna skip over anything, but I also want, if you wanna leave, you're welcome to.
And, you know, my term is up as a lister this year, so I'm,
Are you rerunning or?
I think so, at the moment,
For the love of God.
for the love of
Yes.
God. I think so, and it would, it's also helpful for everybody, because then if someone comes in, I can answer questions, where if I'm on a lister and Sharon's not there, no one's gonna answer a question. So, I'm planning on it, shall we say. If we have a lot of people running, I might bow out.
The right people.
Yeah,
Well,
all right, so you're done with us?
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
This probably is not the last time we'll go through this budget, so
Yeah.
we'll let you know.
Okay.
It's early yet. It's early yet.
So we
Minis-
pretty much gotta live with stuff like this at town. It's pretty much a fact of life every year.
It's just a computer purchase.
that kind of stuff, it's just, we got no qualms with, you know. Municipal Planning Commission. Anybody got anything going? It's all the same.
What, secretarial services going up, oh no, staying the same. 15, that's a huge jump though from FY '23 to
Yeah,
proposed.
well, she was on maternity leave for a long time.
Oh, okay.
We kind of picked and choose, we got people to come and do it, but it should show. I could dig that out, but it's, we are, obviously, the town planner is gonna take some time.
Mhm.
We're doing that, so, but we're not gonna go to 9 o'clock like we did last week, or last night. I hope. But,
It's 7:48.
no, I was talking about the planning commission.
Oh, no, I thought not.
That was a long one. We had a couple of people talking that aren't normally there. But anyways, the secretarial person is really good. And she's essentially the secretary. She takes detailed notes, and it's very helpful when we go back, so I think that's a bargain, to be honest with you. And it's not an increase from last year, right? No. Any other questions on planning, municipal zoning? That mostly is Phil's salary. It's all Phil's salary, right? That's all Phil's salary, right? Yeah.
That actually gives him a couple extra hours a week.
Okay.
3.5% increase. It's not a big pay jump, but it's a couple extra hours because we've seen more activity in that office.
He's only working part-time now, or?
Yeah,
Not here like 2 days a week.
Oh, okay.
he does Thursday and Friday, I think.
Got it.
The Board of Adjustment, that's stayed the same. Okay, street lights. Stop me if I'm going too fast.
Where do you see streetlights, Bob?
That would
Back
be
at page 5.
page 5 at the bottom.
Is that decrease a result of fewer street lights operational or LED lights being installed or?
We did have LEDs installed a couple years back, even before I got here, but I noticed that too. So I went back the last couple years to look, and we have a downward trend in electricity use. And we did, so what this could be is the 10% decrease or the 10% discount we get for our solar project. The solar project over at the dump, so we get a 10% reduction in our energy cost. That, I don't know what else it could be besides that,
Yeah, yeah,
so.
works for me.
Yeah, it's, even 2 years ago, we were over $30,000, but. Yeah.
Well,
I'll take it.
Yeah. Security lights, turn it right up.
We've been turning the street lights off while you sleep, Chad. Didn't even notice.
They're on a timer. Any questions on streetlights? Memberships, which is page 8, I think. Yeah.
Is there any value in bringing Lyle out here to talk with us on potentially what Cedar could help with in our area to revisit membership?
Well, we pay membership dues, right, at this point.
Yes, we're a member of Cedar currently.
But the Cedar promotion is,
The promotion.
yeah, it's a reasonable question. Yeah, I'd like to look at it with an open eye. I mean, Lyle will be the first one to know, and I've called him out on lack of this side of cooperation with this side of Birdseye.
Yep.
And the Cedar is Rutland centric. There's no doubt about it.
Well,
Do they do us any good at all?
It's an argument. I mean, I don't know what they've done in the past, in the last couple of years for us. Maybe you can enlighten.
Sure, I actually work pretty close with Cedar. Just recently, Lyle reached out to the legislature for this project-based TIF that, the legislature didn't pass, but I wanted to talk to the legislature about it, so he put me in contact with, the states and then some of the elected officials, and we had a meeting, and I was able to express how the town of Fairhaven could benefit from that. So, Lyle and his group are handy to have for things like that, for initiatives we want to push kind of further up. He does send, just recently, last week in fact, 2 weeks ago, he sent somebody looking for some land in our direction. So, we always tell them, if you got somebody, send them our way, we'll, kind of wine and dine them and try to get somebody in town. So they do keep us in mind. Have we seen any big construction? No. But it would only take one big project to make that $500 worth it. So I personally appreciate Cedar and what they do for how they help us.
Absolutely. I have no issue with the membership. I think the promotion piece. So last year he came out and showed us the 4 families he flew into the area to show the Rutland region, right? And that was the marketing strategy for the area. I don't know if that's the best way to promote Fairhaven. If you're showing them Brandon, Killington, Rutland, Fairhaven, and only 4 families falling under that. If there's a way to perhaps see how they could promote us a little differently, where we would get a little more activity, that might be helpful.
What is Cedar?
Cedar is the Chamber of Economic Development for Rutland Region.
Got it, thank you.
Well, you want Lyle to come in? I mean, I don't have a problem with that. I mean, we're already paying the dues. It's whether we pay the promotion end of things.
Maybe we can set him up on a Zoom meeting or something like that, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I know he'll come over. He does.
And who are these 4 families that they're flying in? I mean, for development or,
So the idea was to attract more folks to
young executives
yeah.
and things like that.
Yes. Flew them in, gave them a weekend away in the area, and tried to draw them to come out and live here.
And I think then they videoed that and sent that, you know, obviously, and then that was on their website, that these people were here and this is what they saw. You know, I mean, I get the idea that it was, I don't know if they came to Fairhaven, did they?
Sounds like they did. They came to the downtown area.
Okay.
And if I remember him correctly, one family did decide to make an offer on a house in Brandon.
Yeah. I mean, let's have them come and talk, it's some new board members and you see what you feel like and see if it's a valuable thing. $1,000 isn't a lot. We used to donate $1,000 to their promotional end of things, but we stopped doing it. Just because we didn't, well, we were trying to shave budgets as much as we can, and that was an easy one.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's a little short-sighted, it could be. You want to invite him over?
Oh, sure. He'd love it.
Yeah, yes, he would. So, any other questions on the other memberships?
I did talk to Glenn about that, and he was hoping, and I don't think I'm talking out of turn, he was hoping that the board would add $500 back to Cedar Promotion.
No.
I would be remiss if I didn't say that.
Yeah, actually, he got me, it was one of his questions as well. And he did say 500. Well, let's wait until we talk to him. He'll be back then too.
Okay.
Okay. Everybody good with that? Intergovernmental, which is our county tax essentially. And that is
Non-negotiable.
non-negotiable. They will, the two side judges will come up with a budget that will be set in stone, and they will send us a bill.
And what do we get for that?
I can't tell you what we get for that. We get two side judges, and we get sheriff, we get the county sheriff. I don't know how it's broken out. I think it's just the sheriff himself and whatever our cut of that is. And he has to come up with his own budget for all the sheriffs.
Would that include any services for sheriffs if our local police
I
department
think we
needed?
get charged for everything this year.
We would get charged for it above and beyond this? Really?
County government in Vermont is an odd thing. It's not very strong, and it's kind of, what's the proper word? It's really not, you don't get a lot out of it. The side judges are what you get, and their input on legal things, but I can't tell you something that we get from county government. Can you think of anything?
The court system, or is that state?
It's state, I believe. There's no county court that I'm.
Well, there's this, you know, the various county units.
Yeah.
There's a unit in every county, so there's a separate court system there. I'm just curious as to whether or not any of this is going to.
The side judges are part of that.
What are the side judges, or?
Maybe probate?
No. They're in a regular court. They do a lot of family court stuff. They do, but they're.
Oh, like magistrates or something
Yeah,
like that.
they're-
Like the lower, they're not quite superior court judges.
And they have considerable
They're
power.
like hearing officers, basically.
Yeah, but they're, I can't explain it. And I've been, it's but you get to vote for some every
It
year.
just seems like we should be getting a little more than what we get for $15,000.
Yeah, I don't,
It seems like a lot of money for.
I'm really showing my ignorance because I should know more about that than I do, and I just don't.
Well, historically, I think didn't it go to pay for dispatch was in the county?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
That's where the dispatch should be, is
Oh.
at the county level.
Yeah, I agree. It was a state police for a long time. and-
That's right.
And
Yeah.
then they dropped it. They didn't want it. So I don't think the county ever did it. Honestly, it's, except for the court end of it, there's really not much that we get out of.
It seems the counties are more geographic, that,
Yeah.
demarcations and nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, unlike New York State,
Yeah.
New York State has a really powerful county system.
Yep.
And a lot of things go through the county, not in Vermont, you know, there's the sheriff, the county, whatever the county courts are, and I'm not sure exactly where the delineation is. But that's what we get, and we will get a bill, whatever they decide. And if you wanna go ask them, they have their,
It's very interesting how it works.
yeah. They have their budget discussion 1 noon, some noon day, some noon weekday, and you can go over and ask what's the money for, and they'll tell you, and then that'll be it. Then they'll decide.
Do they produce a budget that you could look at?
Yeah, if you go over there and ask for
Go there,
it,
look at it?
you'd have to ask for it. Is that all? Wait, did I miss anything on here? I don't think so. Good. All right.
We have anything on 11 at all, or?
Page 11?
No, item 11.
The parking lot.
I don't have any updates.
Zoning, we're on schedule with, when's that? When do we say we're gonna do that? December what?
December, yeah.
December 12th is the
12th.
public hearing. The next meeting, the board will review the.
Right,
changes.
okay, so next meeting, that's right, next meeting will be the, everybody can come up and we can add the stuff we had to add that was passed over to the zoning regs, and then we will present it at a public hearing. Okay, yep.
So the zoning reg update, and there should have been like a small cover sheet.
Yeah.
Were in your box. I
Yep.
printed them out.
Yep, I got it.
At the next meeting, can you please bring those so that way I don't have to print out another book of that?
That's just.
It's the big thick one, yeah.
There, if you
I'm
need,
being cheap, Mr. Green.
no, that's, absolutely, that's a ream of paper.
It makes sense to do it that way.
It's a lot.
That is actually something, when we get ready to have, they're supposed to produce that. I will get a hold of our new guy and see, because he was supposed to give us a whole bunch of copies, and they haven't yet, which would be
Yeah, that's-
helpful. Okay, anything else? Town plan, we're working on it. We're 2/3 of the way through the town first read through and first changes in the town plan. I would say 2/3 along that line. And we should be able to go for the first finish up the first read through and by tomorrow. And then we'll go back and see, a lot of it's gotta be recopied, and then we'll say, wait a minute, here, do some of the changes. But it's coming out, it's a much more positive document this time, I think, and a little more forward thinking. I mean, it's also 7 years different, so there's a lot newer stuff. Okay. Board roundtable. Rich?
I have nothing.
Nothing?
Were you able to talk about the brine machine? You're gonna ask if we could extend that to,
we can get the grant. She says we can extend it, but I have to get her stuff by December 1st. And our match was 5,000. I thought it was
But we would-
9,000, but we'd have a $5,000 match.
to get the extension, or to,
Well, just- we take it.
if we take the grant? Well, it'd be interesting to see what goes on with that.
So
I mean, can we extend it a year? I mean, can we push it out?
we can get an extension on the back side. The trouble is right now on the front side. Like,
doing all
So,
the
so there's
paperwork.
somebody that needs to do a whole work plan,
Oh,
and it's due December 1st.
okay, all right.
I just don't know who's gonna do, what will happen now, if I said, I will do the work plan, there's nobody to manage it at that point. There's not even anybody to do the work plan. I can just squeeze it in on a Saturday.
Yeah,
Um,
okay.
maybe it sounds foolish, but we don't have the people in place to manage these grants.
Yeah.
I've taken people from every department and put them in different grant management positions, and they're not even grant managers. They're just doing it, and we're just getting by. So I can add some stuff, I can
Well,
add some
I
paperwork to
don't wanna
but
make it, I don't wanna make it any worse, so.
I don't know what to do at this point. I'm really out of
The-
people.
I hate to lose, the brine system is a good system, I just hate to lose. And they've got a pretty good homemade setup, yeah, but it obviously would be that much more efficient if it was a machine that was made for it. But if we can't, we can't, it's simple as that.
I just don't have I mean, I can do the front end work and, but back end work is just, it's not.
All right,
Should probably end up costing us more in the long run if we tried to get it and not.
well, I don't wanna half-ass it, you know.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It'd probably be
okay,
a little more of a hassle.
okay, it'll come around again.
And that, you're absolutely right, that'll come back. Once we have time, that'll come back.
Okay. Financial reports, anybody wanna do that?
Wait a minute.
Where, you got the,
Oh, no, we don't, we don't have Glenn.
yeah,
It was in your box, but let me.
I have the numbers here.
You have
Oh, I
that?
stole the packets, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's what I was looking for.
you're on.
Let's see if I can do this.
There's actually 4 in there that we gotta do.
Yeah, there were 3 payroll warrants.
There's three payroll ones, right.
There is, isn't there? I make a motion to approve the payroll warrant of $1,426.58.
1,421.
$1,426.58.
Thank you.
Is there a second?
Also,
I did sign it, Mark.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to approve payroll warrant of $1,178.61.
Second.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Make a motion to approve the payroll warrant of $33,430.90.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? I just said that before.
Motion to approve a general warrant of $56,511.75.
Is there a second? Second.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Do we have a checkbook status? Do you have?
Yes.
'Cause
Current checkbook status is $1,429,515.37. There's a school payment next meeting.
which I will ask as usual, that I always ask, it's protected, correct?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
We have a thing called a repurchase agreement that protects our cash.
You tell me that every time, but I have a traumatic something or other
Well,
from,
look what happened in California. Was it this year, last year, when all those rich people lost all their money? Yeah.
well, I'm not worried about the rich people, I'm worried about the poor folks like me. Do we have an executive session? We don't.
I think we got it dealt
We
with
got-
before we get.
Well, there's
I mean, do we want one, or is there any?
Is there anything to,
I mean, we'll talk to the court tomorrow and there'll probably be something next time.
Yeah.
all right,
No, I don't see
all right, well then, in that case,
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?